What's up, everyone? Broad Street and Beyond podcast is back this week for another episode. I'm JT. That is Chase. My friend, we've got a lot to talk about, and, I wanted to do this on a Tuesday this week because I knew we'd be coming off an Eagles game, and I wanted to have it fresh in our minds, but we're going to talk about the Monday night game last night. We'll touch on the Ravens and the Steelers and how their weekends went, and we'll also, of course, get into some hockey. We'll talk some Penn State with another heartbreaker. Well, actually, you know what? There's a good deal to talk about with Penn State this week, but let's get it warmed up. I didn't ask you this ahead of time. Do we got three questions?
I think I got two. I gotta let you know I had to rearrange my hair and my nails appointment today for this. So,
God! Wow, I feel honored that you found time for us.
Yeah. I got two. Let's start off with two today. What do you think? Let's
just
do
two. A two for Tuesday.
Yeah, there we go. First one is your favorite Thanksgiving food. Since that's two.
Italian stuffing.
Italian stuffing.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Italian stuffing and regular stuffing?
Well, my aunt and my nana, actually my nana made it when I was younger, and she passed it on to my aunt, and it's it's like regular stuffing, but there's like Italian sausage in there, and there's some peppers in there. It's really really good. It's got just a little bit of an extra something in there. I don't know how to quite to describe. I know I couldn't make it, but it's really, really good, and I look forward to it every Thanksgiving.
Any marinara sauce like you Italians like? Marinara?
At Thanksgiving?
Yeah, in your Italian stuffing.
No.
Like dip it in.
No, the sausage is mixed in with the stuffing. This isn't a pasta meal. What are you talking about?
I'm just asking.
Okay.
How about the first car you owned? Do you remember?
Let me think. So the first car I owned was a Pontiac Grand Am.
Ooh, what year? Do you remember?
A 1986 Pontiac Grand Am.
That was late, man. Remember my first.
So I guess it would have been when I got my license. I guess it would have been about 5-6 years old when I got it. So it lasted me a little while.
My first ride was a '79 VW Rabbit. And
yeah.
Now listen, I had it for about 6 months, and I bought it from a friend of mine. In 6 months, I had to get it inspected, and guess what? It got yellow flagged because the bottom was rotting out. So I had to get rid of it after like 6 months.
Well, I guess I could say at least it got you from point A to point B, but I'm not sure that it did.
It got me there. I don't think it got me there beyond the 6 months, but it got me there. That's all I got. I didn't have time to prepare for three. Sorry, man. The first one was from Minnie Hopper. You can thank Minnie Hopper for that one.
Oh, thank you, Minnie Hopper. Is she around? Where's she at?
She's in school.
Oh,
she's got class. School's getting in the way of the podcast.
Well, I think who do we need to talk to help her get her priorities straight?
Talk to that principal of hers.
Okay. Anyway, we're removed last night from an Eagles game that first off, let's not bury the lead. They won 10-7.
Big win.
A big win over the Green Bay Packers in really cold temperatures. Monday Night Football. But I guess it wouldn't be an Eagles game or even an Eagles win for that matter if you come away, I don't know, frustrated perhaps. Asking a lot of questions. What do we witness? Some good and some bad, but I don't want to gloss over the fact that they won. I guess we want to start with. I mean, the defense was awesome, right? I mean, they came to play. I mean, Jalen Phillips is a revelation. I mean, if he plays like that every week, that is going to be one of Howie Roseman's best deadline deal trades.
Right.
He was all over the place. Nakobe Dean was all over the place. Jalen Carter was terrific. Jalix Hunt, Moro Ojomo. I mean, there are a lot of Zach Bond was all over the place. The secondary did really well. I mean, I really don't have any complaints whatsoever about how they played defensively. That fourth down stop that 4th and 1 late in the game when the Eagles were up 10-0. The one that or 10-7, the one that I thought was going to wrap up the game. It looked like they had that play snuffed out from the beginning. And man, oh man, I mean, did they come to play? I mean, that was just that. That was the kind of defensive effort that'll take you pretty far in the playoffs.
Yeah, I've been looking for all season.
Yeah,
really. I mean, they've been looking for that for all season long. I mean, Nolan Smith being back, they had Brandon Graham, albeit Brandon Graham didn't play that many snaps in that game last night. But I'll tell you what, Jalen Phillips in that game last night, but he had 6 tackles in that game. Zach Bond with 5 tackles. Hunt, you mentioned, 5 tackles. I mean, you go down the list, man. Even Jalen Carter, Blankenship, Quentin Mitchell had a good game. That whole defense, I mean, being able to hold the Green Bay Packers to 263 total yards in offense last night, 0-0 at half. I mean, obviously it wasn't if you're looking for offense, you didn't get it in that first half last night for sure. But the Eagles did what they needed to do to get the win at Lambeau Field. I mean, it's a tough place to play, especially in those temperatures. Anytime you're playing against Jordan Love in that offense too, man, they really, really put pressure on Jordan Love last night in that Packers offense. I mean, they didn't really do a whole lot on offense, the Packers at all, but the offense clicked a little bit. I mean, you saw flashes of Saquon Barkley in that game with a couple of that one run where he did the spin once again and racked off 40-some yards on that run. They threw the ball to Devontae Smith several times, and that was a prime example in that touchdown catch from Hurts to Smith. I mean, all you got to do is throw that ball up, man, either to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. Get that ball in the air, and those guys are going to go after it and try to get that catch each and every single time, and that's what happened last night. But they did what they needed to do. I don't have any complaints about last night. I mean, definitely have a lot of questions as far as the offense going forward still. With Saquon Barkley not getting, the amount of yards and the touchdowns that he normally would have that he had last year. But, all in all, man, it was a good Eagles win last night.
Well, I think the offenses, Green Bay and Philly, I'm talking about, are similar in the fact that they both kind of are at their best when, they have their run game going. And you could see that, the Eagles were determined to try to get Saquon going. It was a little bumpy, kind of a lot bumpy at some points, but as you can see, the same thing. Green Bay was determined to try to get Josh Jacobs going, and the Eagles did a great job limiting his yards. I just it was that first drive that the Eagles had where they took almost 7 minutes off the clock, and they were methodically moving the ball down the field, and then it got then Jalen Hurts fumbled on that quarterback run. Big turnover. He had the first down, and that that was, and it just the offense never looked quite the same after that. But then again, you have to balance that with the fact that was a really good defense that they were going up against. I mean, Green Bay is as good of, in my opinion, as good a defense as there is.
No slouch.
I mean, you can see that Micah Parsons just can wreak havoc on plays, and I think there were plays there that, against a lot of teams, were there to be had, but Micah Parsons is like the ultimate disruptor, and you saw that many times last night. Times where he was able to get through and quickly. Jalen Hurts was flushed out of the pocket, and he had to roll to either to his right or to his left to try to make a play. Speaking of rolling out, early in the game, he had a big completion on the run, rolling to his right to Will Shipley on third down. Yeah. And Jalen Hurts can make plays like that with his legs. You just don't see it quite as consistently. I guess the only thing offensively that really stands out is obviously, I think they went pretty conservative with their approach.
Play call.
But if that's the case, I don't know. What do you think they were thinking on that late in the game, on that 4th and 6 play that ended up being a fade towards the end zone to A.J. Brown? I wasn't really sure what they were going for there. I would just assume to have him punt and pin him deep and have to go a little further. I mean, they really flirted with danger there. I know Green Bay didn't have any timeouts, but all they needed was like 2 decent pass plays, and they were in a chance for McManus to attempt a field goal. Now, I know they did attempt a field goal, but I think it was obviously he
He did have a practice one though. I mean, he got a practice one.
Yeah, what was that? I thought you weren't allowed to do that.
The first one was better than the second one. I don't know.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
First one was better than the second one.
But what was your take there when you saw that fourth down call and the long pass to Brown?
Yeah, you're talking about the one with the 33 seconds left, right? There in the game.
What were they going for there?
I don't know.
What was the thinking?
I don't know. I think at times, you got Nick Sirianni, who, of course, is always the guy that no matter how many yards they need on fourth down, he thinks he just needs to go for it each and every single time. That was probably one of those plays. It was kind of funny. I saw on social media earlier this morning that somebody said and I don't know if you saw this, but after the game, somebody put Nick Sirianni had to do a drug test after the game because of him going for it there on that fourth down with 33 seconds to go. But I don't know what he's thinking at times. I mean, I like some of his mentality where he's always aggressive in some of his play calling, but that one was not something you want to do with 33 seconds left and give the ball back to Jordan Love to, being only up by 3. There's risks that he takes, and some of those risks he shouldn't be taking, and that was probably one of them last night.
Yeah, I did notice, though, I did pick up on this, that when that play happened and they showed the replay and then they showed Sirianni on the sidelines, you could read his lips. Excuse me, and was saying, because read his lips, he was saying, why? So I don't know if he was caught off guard, if that was
maybe he didn't
audible.
Call that.
Maybe Hurts made a call on his own, and they were trying to be aggressive there. I don't know. I'm curious to find out. I did not have a chance to go back and watch the post-game press conference to see if anybody asked him that and to see what happened or what the thinking was there, what in the world happened. But, boy, they were really playing with fire there on that play at the end of the game. But, they lived to tell about it at least.
Yeah, like I said, I like his aggressive play calling at times, but there's just sometimes where you just kind of shake your head and be like, man, I can see it from my own couch that you shouldn't be doing the play that you're about to do. And that was certainly one of them last night. I mean, the Eagles are off to a great start, though. I mean, you can't complain about getting a win in Lambeau Field and doing it the way they did last night, doing whatever it takes. I mean, essentially, when you think about last night, they had one big drive that basically won the game for the Eagles in that entire football game last night. It was one big drive, and that was it. And that, set up the touchdown, and that was it. I mean, that was all that they needed last night to beat the Green Bay Packers, which is something to be said. But they've had the Packers number for the past couple of years, 4-0 now against the Packers. Sirianni, he's 10-0 against the NFC North, including the playoffs. 4-1 this season alone against on the road. His road record speaks for itself too. 28-11 on the road since 2021, and they've won 9 of their last 11 road games. So the Eagles are definitely a good road team, and they kind of showed it last night, getting done what they needed to get done.
Yeah, and look, I think we could sit here and pick apart, different things in the game offensively. Why didn't they do this, or why couldn't they do this? But, the fact of the matter is, it's in a long NFL season, you're going to have games like this, where it's not going to look pretty, and you're going to win in different kinds of ways, and it wasn't pretty, but again, they went into Green Bay against a pretty good team, and defensively they played the way a team that's trying to win another Super Bowl, the way that they have to play defensively. So we'll see if they can keep it up. Now obviously they're going to be pressed a lot more coming up. They got a short turnaround, and then they got Sunday night coming up against the Lions, who look like they're starting to pick things up. They're hitting their stride. Dan Campbell's taken over the play calls. So obviously the Eagles are going to have, 10 points isn't going to get it done. But, if the defense can play the way they have been, and be that as it may, the Eagles are obviously capable of doing more offensively. We've seen it. We just haven't seen it consistently.
Yeah, I mean, could you sit here and say all day long? I mean, we talked about it weeks ago, all the offensive firepower that the Philadelphia Eagles had, even in the backfield alone with Barkley, Bigsby, you got Shipley back there, you got Dillon back there still. And then you look at the receivers. I mean, even last night, A.J. Brown had, 2 receptions last night? You got to get A.J. Brown more in the mix. Dallas Goedert had another good game, especially on that one drive where he caught, 3 passes and that Hurts threw to him. But you could sit here all day and say about the offense, offense, but I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to be the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. I mean, you have one football to throw it to one other guy or run it to one other guy, and they got so much on that offensive side of things that at some point in time, it's got to click, man. They got to score 30, 40 points here at some point in time this season. It ain't going to happen against Detroit, but, you know, at some point in time, they've got to kind of fire up that offense and get it going.
Yeah, they're going to have. You're right. They're going to have to, and hopefully we'll see it starts this coming Sunday night against the Lions. Sunday night football. So we got Monday night football, Sunday night football, and then the following week against Dallas at 4 o'clock, 4:25. I'm sure that's going to be America's game of the week, and then the Bears on Black Friday. So
that's right.
No shortage of national high profile primetime games here for the Eagles coming up, and we've talked about this before. This is the teeth of their schedule. This is really where it's gonna, you know, we're really gonna get a sense of what kind of team they are, and so far, you know, coming off the bye, they passed their first test last night with the big win in Green Bay. Switching gears to
the defense is going to have to step it up, man, this week for sure. Jared Goff, no slouch there. I mean, Jameson Williams also. I mean, they got Montgomery, the running back there, man. Defense is going to have to step it up again, just like they did against the Green Bay Packers.
Absolutely. So switching gears now, the Ravens, they look like they're starting to hit their stride now. They've won 3 in a row. They get the 27-19 win in Minnesota on Sunday, and a season that once looked like it was getting away from them. Now, all of a sudden, they've won 3 in a row. They're up to 4-5. Lamar Jackson's back. They're getting healthier on defense. Your thoughts on what the Ravens were able to do here? You know, they didn't have a whole lot going on offensively for much of that first half. They were, you know, they were staying afloat there with some Tyler Loop field goals until they, you know, the defense started getting some turnovers, and Lamar Jackson got better as the game went on. But what do you think? Are the Ravens, have they gotten through their bumps on the road? Are they hitting their stride? What do you think they're headed here?
You know, the AFC North is going to be interesting. I mean, what one game separates them now? Steelers, Ravens.
Yeah,
from the top of that division.
I
mean, all 4 of those teams are still in them. Even the Cleveland Browns sitting at 2-7. In that AFC North. It's hard to believe that, but the Cleveland Browns are still in that division at 2-7. I mean, big win for Lamar, his 100th regular season start in that game. But too many mistakes. I mean, on that opposite side, man, for J.J. McCarthy, way too many mistakes. He showed the lack of number of reps in the NFL in that game for the Vikings. He had too many mistakes, showed his lack of experience in that game. First 5 games, though, the Ravens defense had given up 35 points or more on average. Last 4, less than 15 points per game. So the defense is certainly starting to step up, and every time you get Lamar Jackson anytime into that mix with the Baltimore Ravens, you're seeing it, man. They're just starting to click a little bit, and they'll figure it out here. And with the way the Steelers played this past week, we'll get to those, the Steelers here in just a bit. But the Vikings certainly lack of consistency in that game definitely showed, and the Ravens pulled one out. And like you said, it wasn't a huge offensive performance by any stretch of the imagination, but the defense held the Ravens in that game.
Right. They got a couple of interceptions. I think it was Malachi Starks and Marlon Humphrey had interceptions. The Vikings also fumbled a kickoff, which I think when it was all said and done, the Ravens got 13 points off of turnovers, which was, you know, a big part. And then they started to run the ball better in the second half. You know, obviously, the more you feed Derrick Henry, I think the better he gets as the game was going on. Justice Hill had a touchdown. And then, of course, you know, Lamar Jackson. I did read, though, where it looks like defensively they've gone to sort of like a 3 safety set, which they said really helps Kyle Hamilton, kind of plays to his strengths a little bit. You know, and Kyle Hamilton was kind of banged up earlier in the season. He's back now, and he looks like he's playing pretty well. So yeah, I mean, it was like, you know, that after they won the game, I forget who was doing the play-by-play. He said, you know, here come the Ravens, and you know, the way it was going there, you know, we kind of, you know, maybe dismissed them a little bit, but I think the thinking was that when Lamar Jackson got back, things were going to get better, and they have. And you never quite trusted that even though the Steelers were off to a good start, that they were never going to completely run away with that division.
And here's what the Ravens have too. I mean, the next 2 weeks, you see what they got? Cleveland Browns.
They got Cleveland next week.
They got Cleveland coming up here, and then the following weekend they got the New York Jets. I mean, so the schedule's kind of in their favor here, of course, for the Baltimore Ravens. Then the following week, I'm looking at it now, the Cincinnati Bengals. They play so the next 3 weeks, they basically play a bunch of peanuts coming up. They got the Browns, they got the Jets, and they got the Bengals coming up in those games. And then they get into that AFC North, and they finally will play Pittsburgh down in Baltimore that following week after they play those three. But the schedule is certainly in Baltimore's favor.
You would think so, though. You got to be careful. The Bengals can be a really tricky team. I know their record's not good, and they usually do kind of find a way to lose. But one thing they do seem to do is they seem to score a lot of points with Joe Flacco, and with the weapons they have offensively. But they also do, they still lose more often than they win. So.
I got another stat for you too, JT. You ready for another stat? I'm a stat guy, man. I just love looking at the stats and looking at history. Lamar Jackson trails only Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Roger Staubach in what? In their first 100 starts.
Who does he trail?
Patrick Mahomes, Brady, and Staubach. In what? In their first 100 starts.
All-purpose yards, passing yards?
Wins.
In
wins, yep. Mahomes got 78, Brady's got 76, Staubach's got 76 as well. Pretty impressive stuff. I mean, he's there with a lot of the greats in the NFL, and every time Lamar Jackson steps on the field, I think the Ravens always have a chance.
Absolutely, and let's be honest, they have won. Since he has been their quarterback, they have won a lot of football games. Obviously, Ravens fans are gonna be disappointed the fact that it hasn't translated into some postseason success. But
sure,
they're always in the mix. They're always in the mix for the division, and right now they're nipping at the heels of the next team we're going to talk about, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who once were off to that 4-1 start, and now they've lost 4 of their last 5.
I was ready to give them the Super Bowl trophy last week.
You were?
They beat the Colts. Come on, they beat the Colts.
Well, yeah, they did, and
beat the Colts.
But again, this was a different animal. This was going on the road. This was headed out to the West Coast, and man, oh man, one of the things we talked about that was keeping the Steelers afloat was the play of Aaron Rodgers. He was having a really good season. He was playing really well. He's playing within himself. He wasn't doing anything to cost them the game, but I think that had to be Rodgers' worst game of the season last Sunday night. He threw 2 interceptions. One of them was really costly, and then he had the one play where I think he lost the ball, picked it up, tried to make a play, and got sacked in the end zone. That was a safety, and that seemed to be the thing that sparked the Chargers, because for the early part of that game, they weren't really doing anything either. It looked like the Steelers were picking up where they left off against the Colts. And honestly, if you look at it, defensively, the Steelers, for the most part, still played pretty well in that game on Sunday. It was just, offensively, they couldn't do anything. Rodgers really struggled, and right now they need another receiver to step up to complement DK Metcalf, because on Sunday night they just didn't have one.
Mm-mm. Yeah, it almost looked like you were watching the Padres take on the Pirates at the first quarter. It was 3-2 at the end of the first quarter in that game of the Steelers and the Chargers game. Second, third quarter, Chargers outscored the Steelers 13-0. Justin Herbert had an okay game. I mean, I don't think either offense was lights out in that, with the exception of McConkey. I think he went over for 100 and some yards in that game for San Diego. But again, Rodgers sacked 3 times in that game, 2 picks. He only threw for 161 yards, a touchdown. Did not look the greatest at all in that game. The Chargers defense played well. They've given up 221 yards or less in the last 3 games. The San Diego Chargers, just a sloppy game overall for the Steelers, especially after the big win against the Colts, man. I mean, you come off of that win, and you would have thought that the Steelers would have had some energy, would have had some momentum going for them, and they're still just inconsistent this season, I guess is what you can call the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, and now they're falling to 5-4 and on the verge of maybe somebody overtaking that AFC North here very soon.
Well, I mean, it's quite possible. It's 2 teams. The Ravens are trending in one direction, and the Steelers are trending in another. I caught you there. You're an old school guy like me. I noticed you were calling the Chargers San Diego.
Oh, that's right. They're not in San Diego. It's Los Angeles. I can't get used to that. You know, I can't get used to that.
I'm the same way. Same with the Raiders.
I didn't even pick up on that until you just said something.
Sometimes I still call the Raiders. I say Oakland or L.A. Yeah. And I keep forgetting sometimes that they're the Las Vegas Raiders.
Forgot that they're the Los Angeles Chargers.
It actually doesn't.
Yeah, I quit. I'm done. I'm walking out.
You're out of here. That's it.
I'm done.
It doesn't even sound right most of the time when you say the L.A. Chargers.
No,
at least for me.
No. It's got a nice ring to it. San Diego Chargers.
But the Steelers are back home next week. They got the Bengals, but a couple of weeks ago, they, when things were rolling for them, they lost in Cincinnati. So we'll see. That's certainly not going to be
an easy game. Look at the Bengals now.
Game.
Look at them. I mean, they just put up 42 points against the Chicago Bears. Flacco threw for 470 yards in that game. I mean, Flacco is no slouch there in Cincinnati. Jamar Chase, their offense is just a beast when it's clicking, and I mean, for the most part, it hasn't been clicking. But Flacco's been playing pretty decent for Cincinnati this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of, I don't know where their season's going to go. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, but I mean, it had the makings of a disaster, and he keeps them in a lot of games, and like we said, they can score a lot of points, but we'll see if it translates to any wins starting this Sunday. Again, a big one, Steelers-Bengals in the AFC North. And what is it? Cleveland and Baltimore, right?
So it should be on Monday night. It should be Monday Night Football.
Two AFC North battles coming at you this Sunday.
Yeah,
well,
buddy.
Partner, I was
where are we going with this?
I was upset. I was forlorn on Saturday afternoon. I thought I was definitely getting my smash burger, but no. The Penn State Nittany Lions, in a season where they have punched us in the stomach on multiple occasions, did it to us again. They were this close to knocking off.
Maybe it was a little bigger. Might have been
maybe a little bigger. The number 2 ranked undefeated Indiana Hoosiers. Penn State rallies from a 20-7 deficit. They take the lead in the fourth quarter. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got that text ready to go. I'm gonna tell Chase, give me my smash burger, and I was gonna tell you what I wanted on it.
How'd that work out for you?
But no, it did not work out. But I still got 3 more chances. 3 more chances. But so Indiana, of course, just when you're feeling good, just when you feel like Penn State, who, let's be honest, that was the best that they've played in a couple of weeks, probably since the Oregon game, I would say. And, of course, Indiana goes 80 yards on 10 plays in under 2 minutes. And, of course, Mendoza hits. I
keep going, JT. I'm leaving this all up to you, buddy. You go right ahead. Just keep on going.
I still can't believe he makes this catch. He's under pressure. He throws one to the back of the end zone.
Amazing
and Amari Cooper Jr. comes up with
2 feet.
One of the best catches I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Not only in college football, but ever. He jumps high up in the air. I'm pretty sure at that point that Zakee Wheatley is going to push him out of bounds, and it's going to be no catch. He's up in the air, and he manages to come down with a toe tap, touchdown in the back of the end zone with 36 seconds left, and Indiana ends up winning it 27-24. I mean, I put my head down. I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
You were dreaming of smash burgers. Such a shame.
I was counting my smash burger before it got off the grill.
I got to tell you, I mean, it was an awesome awesome game. I mean, the way Penn State battled in that game was great to see. I mean, they had me literally intrigued. Like I was outside putting up Christmas lights, and I had the game on my phone, just watching it a little bit. And then by the time the day started to come back, I'm like, wow, they may have a chance in this football game. And I'm sorry to tell you, and I am not busting anybody that loves Penn State and loved the way they fought in that game. But again, Penn State reared its ugly head once again. I mean, you can't let a team go down the field the way Indiana did on that scoring drive, and the secondary was just lit up the whole entire drive. I mean, you cannot let that happen. And there was a couple of minutes during that play that I thought James Franklin was coaching the defense once again for Penn State going down the field. I mean, you just cannot let that happen.
Well, I think the problem is you've seen in the last couple of weeks it happened against Ohio State, and I think there was the fear of this in Indiana was that, Ohio State's got big play capability, so does Indiana, and I think Penn State was, especially on that last drive, they were really, really concerned about getting beat deep, and it left a lot of room in the middle of the field, and that's where Indiana did its damage on that last drive. There was a pass down the middle, I think, to one of the tight ends that went for 29 yards, and that was
sure.
I forget who the guy was that caught it, but I was like, when they made that play, I thought, oh my goodness, here we go. That's when I started to, reach around in my seat a little bit and start to get really uncomfortable, and then you kind of had the feeling like, here we go. Indiana's stepping up when they have to, and it all led up to the Mendoza to Cooper connection there in the back of the end zone, the toe tap, and man, oh man! So I'm sitting there. I'm hoping, while you're outside playing Clark Griswold of from
literally,
Christmas Vacation.
Those lights were tangled.
I'm getting ready to text you, but nevertheless, it's six losses in a row, 3-6 now. Let's just stop. Let's just wallow in the misery here for a minute. And let's take a longer view.
Okay.
Let's take a longer view of what we witnessed.
I'm looking ahead.
A long view of this season. So we had the 3-0 start.
Uh-huh.
We had the loss to Oregon.
Do you really count that
overtime.
3-0 start though? They were against
Well,
cupcakes.
I'm just saying no, they're just saying they were 3-0. They lost to Oregon in double overtime.
Right.
The following week, they lose to Northwestern by 1 point at home. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. They lost to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
They laid a big egg the following week at UCLA. I know they lost 42-37, but I never thought they were going to win that game the way that was playing out.
Right.
Then they come home at homecoming, and they lose to Northwestern by a point. Fans are booing Franklin. They're chanting, "Fire Franklin." He, in fact, does get fired the next day. The following week, they lose – or no, did they have a bye week then?
Yep, they had a bye week before is that you're going to the Ohio State game, right?
No. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Then they lost to Iowa by 1 point.
Yep.
Then they had
the bye. Yep.
Then they had the bye. Then they lost to Ohio State, a game in which they were in it in the first half, but never really thought they were going to win. And now they come back, and the happy ending to this story, this tragedy,
mm-hmm.
they almost beat Indiana and lose in the last 36 seconds of the game.
Listen, JT. Penn State cannot catch a break this season. The secondary just cannot hold some of these Big Ten offenses that are so dynamic. Listen, this is the same thing we've been talking about for Penn State for how many years. It doesn't matter how close they are in the ball game. Hey, listen, they played their butts off in this game. They played their butts off in previous years. But guess what? Nobody's going to Pizza Hut or Dairy Queen after the game because they played a good game and they were so close to beating Indiana. This cannot keep happening from Penn State and Penn State football until they get this figured out of when you get down to the wire, you got to figure out how to win those football games and win those football games against these top tier teams. And they're still not doing it. That is the facts. Facts are facts. I'm not watching Penn State football just because they can play good and they can compete. I'm watching Penn State football because I want them to win football games, right?
Are they going to win this week?
No.
Oh,
I mean, they're evenly matched. Listen, they're evenly matched with Michigan State. Michigan State has lost, 6 straight games as well. Let me see, they're 0-6 in the conference. Same with the way Penn State is. But Michigan State is 3-2 at home. So they have a winning record at home. I'm going with Michigan State. The Spartans are going to beat the Penn State Nittany Lions. I mean, Grunkmeyer has come on. He looked better against Indiana. But again, Penn State has got to find a way to win these close games when it does matter, and they still can't do that. It's been that way for years. It's no different of when they fired Franklin and now have Terry Smith in there. They still can't win the big game in the final moments. They can't find a way.
Is that what the Penn State players do? They go to Dairy Queen and Pizza Hut after the game? Do they?
Maybe they might go to Buffalo Wild Wings up at State College.
Is that,
I don't
okay?
know. That's where they might
go. They do.
You know, Little League, man. You played well. You go to Dairy Queen or Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Get a free personal pan pizza.
That's Book It. That has nothing to do with it.
That's right. It is Book It.
Do they still do that?
I think they do. Yes. But it doesn't come out in that nice round pan, man. It doesn't come out in that nice round pan right out of the oven. It doesn't do that anymore.
No. Does Minnie Hopper does Minnie Hopper do Book It?
Not in the past couple of years. Now that she's older, now that she's soon driving, they don't do that anymore.
You don't take Minnie Hopper's not getting her personal pan pizza?
Not no more. Back in the day we used to. Not no more. But they got to win these games, man. They got to. I mean,
look at it this way. They got 2 things to play for. They got 2 big things to play for. If they win their last 3 games, they're bowl eligible, and they're going to get me a smash burger one of these weeks.
Hey, listen, if they win one of these next 3 games, you can call up Terry Smith, you can call Grunkmeyer, and I'll take all 3 of you out to lunch for the smash burger.
Does that sound like a deal? You would do that?
Yeah, it's only $10. That's what, $30? Some change?
$30, yeah.
With tax? Yeah, I can afford that. I'll take it.
Okay.
They got to win these games, though, JT. I mean, I understand the Penn State fans are all excited. You know, they were close in the Indiana game. They were close in the Oregon game. They were close in the Ohio State game to a certain extent at half. But they can't win the big games down the stretch. That is the biggest problem with Penn State. I'm sick of saying they were so close. They played so good. They played so well, but they still lost the game. It still shows up as a loss in the record column. Done. Finished.
You feel like I feel like there was some
I had to get that off my
session
chest.
in there. I was going to say you felt like you had a lot.
I had this all built up, man. It's Saturday,
and you just unleashed it. You just unleashed on me here. My goodness.
I hear it all week after Penn State plays a good game. They're so close to winning the game. Those guys. Oh, you got to give those guys credit for playing so well. They played so tough. They showed this, that. I understand they did, but they didn't win the football game. That is why James Franklin was fired, because they've been so close how many times and they can't win the big game. That's why he was fired.
Yeah, and we'll see now that, you know, that's a big story we'll be following here as they finish out the season. 3 games left now, and then, of course, all eyes will turn to who ends up becoming the next permanent head coach. So we'll see. Penn State, Michigan State, this coming Saturday, 3:30 is the kickoff time for that one. So switching gears now.
I got to thank you. Thank you for letting me get that off my chest. Just let me know what I owe you then.
Hold on. And it looks like our hour is up. That'll
right.
be. Oh wait, no. I'm sorry. This is a podcast. This isn't a. Anyway, I'm always here for you.
I appreciate
whenever you need to get something off your chest,
I'm here
for you.
Needed the vent.
So let's switch things over. Let's head onto the hockey rink here. The Flyers, they had again. I feel like we say this a lot. Kind of an uneven week again. They had a couple of nice back-to-back road wins. They had the one we touched on last week. They had the shootout win in Montreal. Then a couple of days later, they picked up a 3-1 win in Nashville. And then, again, kind of an uneven effort last Saturday against the Ottawa Senators at home. They get off to a really bad start. I mean, it was really bad in the first period. They were down 2-0. They didn't look like they were into it at all. Again, credit to them. They battle back, and then they lose in overtime. That can't keep happening. You know, these bad starts. And Rick Tocchet even said it. I got to figure out a way. It's my job to figure out how to get these guys better prepared to play at the outset. Couple of positives to take out of it. Sam Harrison played pretty well in net. Matvei Michkov looks like he's starting to round in the form after getting off to a bad start. I guess he admitted now that he took, 4 months off from hockey in the off season, so that's why he was out of shape and he's been playing catch up. It looked like there was a little bit of miscommunication on that overtime goal of Ottawa. I couldn't tell if Trevor Zegras was trying to get off the ice, or he was telling somebody to come on, or he was telling somebody to cover another guy, and he got late back checking, and that's what led to the overtime goal by Ottawa. But again, what I'm looking for at some point here is a little bit of consistency from the Flyers, and it's sort of there, but I still don't know what to make of this team yet.
It's like you said. I mean, they've started off slow against Nashville on Thursday night. They started off very slow in that game. They started off slow in Ottawa. It was a chippy game against the Ottawa Senators there to start, and going down 2-0 doesn't help. I mean, it's like you just had referenced Rick Tocchet saying he's got to get these guys ready to play as soon as that puck drops in that first period, and it's just not been happening for the Philadelphia Flyers. I mean, I think they've made great strides this year. They certainly have. I mean, they're playing a lot better than what we've seen in years past to start the season. But even in that Ottawa game, they started off slow in the first period. They pretty much owned the second and the third period in that Ottawa game, but still chasing down the Ottawa Senators after that first period. You mentioned the Zegras mistake in that line change there. Harrison didn't see a whole lot of pucks in that game against Ottawa at all, but somehow Ottawa still pulls out the win. 8-5-2. Flyers still playing pretty decent. They got a lot of guys and a lot of positive things there with Michkov that starting, like you just said, showing glimpses of hope here now. He's starting to play a little bit better the past couple of games, but it doesn't stop there, man. They got another big game tomorrow night as they take on Edmonton, who's struggling a little bit this season, but they're still the Edmonton Oilers, so they got to come out ready to play on Wednesday night when Edmonton comes to town.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how the Flyers respond against a team like Ottawa, who's really fast and really skilled and can really put a lot of pressure on you. I think last night they were down a couple of goals, 2 or 3 goals, in fact, to Columbus, and they came back and won in overtime. They're a team that can kind of pounce on you in a hurry. It's you want to play aggressive, but they put a lot of pressure on you, and I'm afraid that the Flyers, if they commit too many penalties, that if you thought Montreal's power play was good, Edmonton's is really really good. And again, McDavid and Draisaitl are just they're so much fun to watch. So we'll see. So they got the game with Edmonton, and then they got Friday and Saturday a back-to-back road night, St. Louis and Dallas. So we'll see how they look coming out of this week.
Looks like the Flyers are spending too much time in the defensive zone too this season.
Yeah, I
mean they
so.
spent a lot of time in the defensive zone in the Ottawa game. I believe it was the first period with their slow start, but they're playing too much in that defensive zone. They got to take those risks, and that goes back to 2 or 3 games ago when Rick Tocchet came out and said they got to get to the harder ice to get their game back to where it needs to be, and hopefully at some point they get there.
I still think there's another trade to be made there. I think they've got to find a way to make another trade. I don't know that there's something still with that mix that they have to shake up a little bit. I don't know who it is. I don't know if there's anybody that they have there that they can trade that has the contract that's tradable that they can move to. I don't know. I don't know if it's like Owen Tippett, or I just feel like they need some kind of trade to really. One more trade to really shake things up.
You think they need to add some fire to that lineup? Is that what you're saying?
Well, they still need high end talent. Like they've got a little of it with Zegras and Michkov, but I just all the pieces don't quite fit together for me, and I don't know. We'll see. I think there's another trade to be had there. But again, it takes 2 to tango, so they got to find a willing trade partner. So we'll see. But again, Flyers in Edmonton coming up tomorrow night, and then in St. Louis Friday, in Dallas on Saturday. The Caps, they've lost 2 in a row now, and 6 of their last 7. They've really gone in the opposite direction. They got off to that good start. I think I caught your pod last week with John Walton. He had described it as very uneven play this season, and I think that's really kind of come to fruition here. They just, as good as they were early, it's just, and I know some of the injuries have hit as well. That's certainly not helping. Now, I just saw Pierre-Luc Dubois is going to be out, 3 to 4 months now? He was in and out of the lineup already early in the year, but I guess now he's going to end up having abdominal and abductor muscle surgery. So he's going to be out of the lineup. Ovechkin, not quite at the pace that he was last year, but, they're still competitive in a lot of these games, but they're not getting over the hump. What have you seen lately out of the Caps?
And it's funny that Dubois, that was the first thing that John Walton had mentioned as far as injuries are concerned, how that one was going to be their biggest one and the one that's going to affect them the most. And you just saw that pretty much in the Tampa Bay Lightning game. I mean, again, they're not scoring goals. The offense has been pretty much stagnant in all these games. I mean, their defense not too bad. I mean, you got Carlson back there, who's just an absolute stud on defense, and he's been that way for a number of years. But Capitals just can't get the puck in the net. And again, the power play hasn't been all that great either. Walton referenced that in the interview as well. Their power play has not been all that great this season. So the Caps needed that one down in Tampa Bay. They're on a 4-game road trip. I believe they wrap it up Thursday night. But they got to sometime get it together. A lot of those guys that they call it from the Hershey Bears, again, Walton referenced that too. Those guys are going to have to step up when they get the call to come up to the Caps and put some offense on that board, and something the Capitals just aren't doing right now.
Right, and they're also going through a pretty tough portion of the schedule. Like you said, they just played. Yeah. They played the Devils, and they played the Lightning. They played the Penguins and they played the Lightning. Now they've got the Hurricanes, Carolina, the Panthers, and the Devils all coming up. So, and again, that division is still pretty much bunched together for the most part. So here's the thing, you could be, kind of up in the upper half of that division, but you lose 2 in a row, and all of a sudden you're down to, like 5th or 6th. So, I guess maybe if there's one team that's sort of, maybe 2 teams I would say that have kind of emerged from the pack, the Hurricanes, the Devils. But again, the Penguins here, go as we switch gears. The Penguins, I mean, I don't know. They continue to be I would say, the early surprise here in the NHL. And I mean, dare I say, is it been the coaching change? Is that all they really needed, was to bring in a new guy? Because it seems like they have a renewed energy right now that's carrying him here into the first, I would say, quarter of the season.
Yeah, I think the Penguins look good. I mean, they just played against the Kings. They fell short 3-2 in that game. Did have a 2-1 lead in the third period. They're playing really good hockey. You saw that you watch any of the Washington Capitals Pittsburgh Penguin game. I mean, those games are always great games to watch, but they really, really took it to the Washington Capitals when they faced them off. And it's like we said last week, they got a bunch of injuries. They got a new goaltender in there, Murashov. He was in goal against the Kings. He made 24 out of 27 saves in that game, but it very well could have been, man. The new coach is starting to make some progress there in Pittsburgh, and Malkin's playing well, Crosby's playing well. Anthony Mantha had the lone goal, I believe, for the Penguins in that game against the Kings. He had a lone goal in that one, but Penguins 9-5-3, and now they got to head over the pond. They say, JT, right? Isn't that where they're heading? Coming up here,
I believe so.
For the NHL Global Series, they're going to be playing in.
Oh, is that where they're doing?
I think that begins on Friday and on Sunday. And Sunday morning when we wake up, even before you go to church, you can watch Penguins hockey at 9 a.m. over in Stockholm, Sweden.
Against those Preds. Preds, right?
2 games.
I think they're playing.
Yep.
I think they're playing Nashville. So, yeah.
They got 4 days off. 4 days off, then they head overseas.
So Crosby has 11 goals and 9 assists. And Malkin has 3 goals and 18 assists. Like they're playing like they're young, fresh-faced guys just a couple years into their prime. I mean, those two guys, they never show their age. It seems like, and right now they're weathering. You know, we talked last week about, you know, Justin Brazeau's out, Nola Chari's out, Tristan Jarry's out, so they're weathering some of the injuries as well.
Yeah, and you team them up with Mantha there on the Penguins too. He's another good one. I think that Ben Kindle guy, who's a pretty decent center there for the Penguins. I think he's got to pick up the pace a little bit, but they got a nice mix there of the young and veteran guys that are playing well here to start the season and see what happens overseas. You know, it's definitely not a field trip for them over to Sweden. They definitely need the points against Nashville coming up here on Friday and Sunday, and hopefully they can bring it home this weekend in the NHL Global Series.
Well, I think Kindell has been a really pleasant surprise for them. He was actually their first-round pick just this past offseason, number 11 overall. He's only 18 years old, and I mean, you know, I guess he's gonna stay up with him. He's not going to junior, and he's too young to go to the American Hockey League. So, you know, he's got 5 goals. So, I mean, he's kind of been, I would say, one of the surprises among all of this rookie class here in the early going. So we'll see what happens. But
don't forget about that other veteran. They got Chris Letang too. I mean, he's got 7 or 8 assists. He's got 7 or 8 assists this year too. So hey, it's a good mix. I think they got there. And hey, it's like you said, maybe it is just the coaching that they needed. And sometimes a team needs that. They just need a new bench boss, and it seems to be working in Pittsburgh. Dan
Muse, isn't that his name? I think
I believe so. Yeah.
And early candidate for Coach of the Year, the dark horse candidate. Although I bet you
throw him in the mix already. Look at you.
Well, I tell you what, though, I bet you if you had to guess who would be the early favorite for Coach of the Year, you'd have to say Joel Quenneville out in Anaheim.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Ducks look absolutely phenomenal right now, and you have to think that he's been a huge part of that.
Yeah.
Switching gears, switching up, we've got the Hershey Bears. They came off 2 games this past weekend. They were back at Giant Center. They had a 4-game winning streak going into last weekend after winning 3 on the road. And then Friday night, they were at home against the Marlies, and they fell 5-2. They had the lead in that game. Sam Bitten, the newly acquired Sam Bitten, was, He found the back of the net there. In fact, he has 2 goals in 2 games?
2 games, yep, to start.
Since being acquired.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's an aggressive guy. We were at both games, Friday and Sunday, and Sam Bitten's it's like we referenced out the golf course earlier in the week here. We said he's going to be a fan favorite, and I think Sam Bitten is well on his way to being a fan favorite. In that first game, he did have a goal. He had an assist. He had 2 big hits, right? Back-to-back, literally on the sideboards, where he just smacked the living daylights out of the Toronto Marlies in that game. I mean, he's not backing down from anybody in the 2 games that he's now been with Hershey. Bjorklund looked decent in the Toronto game, and then they brought in Stevenson against Rochester. But it was good to see on Sunday the 2 oldest teams in the AHL renewing that rivalry again. I say it every day, man. Those 2 teams need to battle it out at the old Hershey Park Arena and throw on those throwback jerseys for a game. And I mean, it would be an absolute epic game, but a good game for the Bears against Rochester to wrap up the weekend. Sam Benton, those 2 goals in 2 games. One was on a deflection that he had in that game against Rochester. Smallman's playing well for Hershey. Protas had a pretty good game.
Yep.
Too.
I saw Smallman's back now, right?
Yeah, Smallman's back. Protas, Suzalev, he had a good game too, and the Bears won it. I mean, they're the biggest thing that's making the difference this season for the Bears is their penalty kill. 18 out of 18 in the last 6 games for the Hershey Bears right now.
Yeah, and it looks like Schuneman, the new defenseman they got, he looks like he's contributing as well. So, a lot of positive signs. Although I guess the former Bear, Travis Boyd, came back to his old stomping ground and haunted the Bears on Friday night. 2 goals, 2 assists. He got a warm welcome as he stepped on the ice for warm-ups, and then no, not so warm of a welcome as he exited off the ice on on Friday night. So we'll see a big 3-3 weekend coming up here. They're in Syracuse on, I believe, Friday, and then they start the home and home. They'll be in Lehigh Valley on Saturday, and then back at home on Sunday against the Phantoms. So always fun when the Bears play the Phantoms. Why is that a 3:00 start on Sunday?
Sometimes they do that because I think of the NFL schedule, possibly, that they bump it up from the 5 o'clock to 3 o'clock game. But, yeah, the home and home. And the Bears still struggling with the puck control, too, that I saw in the past 2 games this weekend. They're turning it over way too much in the offensive zone. That's probably because some of the younger guys that they have on that team that they're not making the crisp passes that they should be making, but the puck control's got to get a little bit better. I mean, they've already faced Lehigh Valley already. They've split the series already this season with Lehigh Valley. So Syracuse got 13 points, 5 goals, 8 assists on the year for Jacob Pelletier, who's a good one there for Syracuse. So we'll see what happens this weekend. But Bears seem to be trending in the right direction for sure, and I think Derek King's starting to like the way they're starting to play.
Well, I like the way they, that second period against Rochester wasn't too good. They gave up. They really got outshot in that second period, but they came out in the third period and they really seemed to tighten up the screws defensively, and were able to keep Rochester off the board. So we'll see if they can keep it going. The big 3-3, as they like to say in the AHL, big 3-3 weekend coming up here for the Bears. Switching gears here, we'll move over to the Sixers. And we'll see that now they've got as we record this, they've got a big game tonight against the Celtics. They just played the Celtics not too long ago. They had a 1-point loss. It was 109-108.
Both games they played them. Yeah, season opener too.
For 1 point.
Season opener. Yep.
So they had a nice win on Saturday against the Raptors. That was the game where Maxey was huge. Trendon Watford had the triple double in that game. Embiid looked really good in that game, too. They're starting to structure his minutes where he starts to play a little bit more in the fourth quarter. Now, I think it helped that Toronto really doesn't have a center. They don't have a guy that can really clog up space in the paint. So Embiid was able to kind of have his way in that game. And then he didn't play the next night. They had a tough loss Sunday, 3 points against the Pistons. And, they had a shot there at the end to tie it, and I've seen it now a couple of times in these games. The loss to the Celtics, the loss to the Bulls, the loss to the Pistons. It's like there's something missing there down the stretch. It's their execution when they really need to kind of bear down and get a good shot. It just looks like it's a little too helter-skelter, and these final possession sequences look just a little off kilter. Like they're kind of scrambling, and it's like if the first option isn't there, they're not able to recover, and they don't usually get off a good shot. But and that seemed to be what happened on Sunday in that last possession against the Pistons, and it ended up with an off-balance 3-pointer with Maxey. But they're going to have to figure that part out of their game because they play these games are going to get tighter and tighter as they play some of these better teams.
Yeah, I think the big difference for the Sixers this year, the third quarter. I mean, they've been outscored in their last 9 out of the 10 games in the third quarter. It's like we said a week ago. They keep trying to play catch-up in the fourth quarter. I mean, the game against the Bulls, I mean, that was a really good game for the Sixers to see. Bulls are a good team. I mean, they played right with the Chicago Bulls and then picking up against the Detroit Pistons. I don't know about you, man, but I always love to see the Pistons-Sixers. Reminds me of the days back in the early 90s. With Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, and the Rick Mahorn, Barkley, and those guys. I mean, those were some serious rivalries back in the early 90s. There's no teams or even that play each other anymore that have the rivalries like they had back in the 90s. But it always reminds me when the Sixers take on the Pistons, man, of those days. What did they call those guys? The bad boys for Detroit? Back in the day?
They were the bad boys, and then when Barkley and Mahorn were together in Philadelphia, they were Thump and Bump.
Yeah, I remember that. Thump and Bump. They had T-shirts made with
Thump
that
and
on.
Bump, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. But, it was a good game for the Sixers. Again, they got to stop playing catch-up in these third quarters. I mean, they're playing well. And even the games that without the biggest difference this year, too, despite the third quarter and their lapses in the third quarter, the times that Joel Embiid isn't playing in these games, they couldn't get it done last year, if you remember. When Joel
Right.
Embiid wasn't in that lineup, they weren't getting it done. This year, it's a completely different story with those guys that are on the bench. Oubre's
Right.
playing well. I mean, you got a couple of guys. Edgecombe's kind of come down to earth. Grimes is playing well, too. Watford's playing well, too. So Sixers, I think I just had a discussion with somebody at the gas pumps today because I had my Sixers hat on. We were talking Sixers, and he had said, "Oh, it's going downhill. You know, they got to do something." Like they've been decent. They've been better this year than they have in previous years to start the season, and I think they're playing good basketball. And I think Nick Nurse has them going the right direction. But you know, they're going to have these games when they play against the bigger boys in the NBA, like they just did with the Pistons and the Bulls, that they're going to struggle a little bit, and it showed, but they're still a very competitive basketball team this year, and I think they're off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, if nothing else, they've been really fun to watch. So
Yeah.
I mean, even in games they lose, and it might be a little frustrating at times, but they're an interesting team to watch. I'll say that. We're going to wrap it up here. We're going to want to give a shout out, though. Last night, you were in attendance at the 54th annual Central Chapter of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame induction banquet at the Lebanon Expo Center. So they inducted the class of 2025, and I want to give a big shout out to this year's inductees, to Glenn Beidler, Tom Brandt, Larry Eisenhower, Mike Gross, Peyton Lyons, Kirk Pearson, Madeline Schock, and Adam Weber. So congratulations to the class of 2025 inductees. And from everything I heard, it was there was over 200 attendees. So in recent memory, one of the highest attended Hall of Fame induction award banquets from the Central Chapter. So congratulations to all those inductees, and well deserved.
You know, I'm still waiting for my call for all my days I played soccer in the Hall of Fame. I just didn't get it. That was the first time I was actually a part of that last night. I was on hand for Tom Brandt, who my wife, that's actually her uncle, Tom Brandt. Know the Brandt family very well, Mark and the rest of the crew there. But just an awesome night to be had. And like I said, first time I was there, had no idea that our own JT was on the board for the Hall of Fame. So I had to text him while I was there when I saw his name in the program. But a good night, a lot of great speeches. A lot of them, you know, thanking their families. I know Kirk Pearson. I know Tom Brandt. Also, I know Glenn Beidler from back in the day, too. So a lot of good folks that got the call for the Hall of Fame, and just a good night just to celebrate what we have here in Pennsylvania. And as you know, man, being a part of the board, man, there's a lot of talent here in PA, and they certainly showed up last night. A good mix last night on hand, and a lot of great speeches that were pretty impactful. And a former radio guy at WLBR, Mike Gross, who you know very well too, he had probably one of the best speeches of all time that I heard last night at that Hall of Fame ceremony. But congratulations to all that got inducted.
Yeah, it was a good night from all accounts, and big credit goes to Glenn, and also to our chapter president Dave Benz, who did a great job planning that and bringing it all together. And that I look forward to that every year. I wish I could have been there this year, but it's always a fun night because you get to see some people that you haven't seen in years, people that I used to play for, some of my former coaches, and also just coaches and players that I got to know in my days as sports writer. So it's always good to see those people and reconnect and catch up. So again, congratulations to the class of 2025 inductees.
And I got to say, I mean, you know how the ceremony goes where they hang all the banners up from previous years there.
Yes.
When you're standing there looking at all the banners that are hanging there at the Expo Center where they had it at, and looking at all those names of like the Dennis Bonvies and Brian Helmer, a lot of Hershey Bears guys that are on there. Jared Audrick was on the one banner. There's such great talent here in Pennsylvania, and not only in Pennsylvania, but right here in Central PA where we are at. And it's amazing to see of the talent that is on those banners, and you're like, oh my goodness, yeah, I remember that guy. Wow, that's pretty incredible. Yeah. But it was a pretty memorable night last night.
Yeah, it's always a fun trip down memory lane when you go to that induction and awards bank. And hey, as a member of the committee, I can nominate people. So you might see, maybe we'll see.
Look at my record. Come on, look at my stats. Come on, look at my stats. I need to be inducted.
Okay. You're open. You are now openly lobbying for.
I'm going to nominate myself. Nominate myself. Can you do that? Can you nominate yourself? You can't nominate yourself, can you?
You cannot nominate yourself. Yeah. Partner, we've come to the end of another sparkling, soul-stirring rendition of Broad Street and Beyond. Again, thanks for hopping on and hanging out with me here. It was always fun to chat Philly sports and beyond with you. We'll be back again next week. Yep, and remember, if you're joining us for the first time, or if you're seeing this for the first time, like, subscribe, share. By the way, I believe we've hit 100. We hit the 100 mark, buddy.
Yeah, we did. We have
100 subscribers.
That's the goal. I mean, just getting the word out there on the street, and we're obviously trying to get some, with having John Wantland here, that kind of helps our cause, but we're trying to get some bigger guests on the show here that have made an impact here in Central PA, that know the sports here in Central PA. So we're getting there, and we're definitely got a lot of surprises yet to come here on Broad Street and Beyond, man.
Sounds good, brother. Talk to you next week.
Thank you, JT.